Good weekend. This is Doc Severson for the ReadySetCrypto OMNIA trade of the day for Sunday, the 21st of March. Let's start off today with our big kahuna here, Bitcoin versus the US dollar. So what we have is a nice rip to the upside here, followed by a consolidation. Range expansion, range contraction. This is all working out perfectly. However, this looks a lot like what we saw back here in January, where we had the same exact thing, where we had a nice rip to the upside, followed by consolidation. And then what happened is everybody was looking for this continuation to the upside. And instead, what happened was it threw everybody off the bus here with this little move to the downside down to 30,000. And then she was gone again. Once it tossed everybody off the ship, she was gone. So I'm wondering if we're going to get the same kind of thing here. Again, there's nothing that tells me that that is going to happen or not going to happen. Why we go through this exercise is to be prepared and not surprised by anything. For example, this move down here, when it went to the downside, we were not surprised by it because we anticipated that. We said, well, okay, it can go to the upside or it can break to the downside. We've seen that happen before. And then when it broke to the downside, we actually used that as an opportunity to sell against those levels with short puts. So now that we've figured out the price and we've put on the fibs here, the fibs show that we pulled back to roughly 50% of this impulse swing to the top. Let's start adding a few more tools to give ourselves a little bit more color. Now, one thing that we always look for is what's going on with the energy. And the energy is very high, as it was back here in early January as well, too. That's no different. Now, what we're going to do is go over to the weekly chart, and the weekly chart does show us a little bit more explanation as why we actually did break to the downside there back in January, because the weekly chart was exhausted. And we don't have that situation right now. So this does give a little bit more evidence or weight of evidence to a potential upside breakout. So there's nothing on the weekly chart that says that this has to or has a higher probability of pulling back first to build up the energy. Other thing I like to do here is to throw in the volume profile and see if there's any high volume nodes that are showing up here. Right now, there is a high volume node right around 56,000, and this is where we've been finding support. If it does drop through there, though, we may drop all the way down to 48,000. So if we do drop to the downside, we could see a very rapid drop back down to here. There's a swing test here at about 42,000, which I'm not sure it's going to hit. We do have prior support down here at about 43,000. So there is a certain amount of confluence that shows that if we do break to the downside, we'll have lots of support down to here. So that's going to be a very aggressive sell for us in terms of cash secured puts, as well as we'll just put up limit orders down here, maybe somewhere between 44 to 46,000. Something else that I like to do, and this hasn't really proved to be much of anything lately just because we've had staggering implied volatility, but I'd like to go out here to the 30 April series, which is the next major monthly series with any kind of a target. And what we're going to do is to roughly go to the 56,000 or the nearest strike price to where the price is right now, which is a little over 57,000. So we're going to go to the 56,000 strike price and determine what the at the money straddle price is, and then use that as our forward expected move. The option change shows that I have an expected move of plus minus 12,500 going into the end of April, which is relatively large, and it's on par with a lot of the other moves that we've seen recently. So I'm going to add that to today's price. I'm going to just pull up an arc here. The upper level of that expected move is going to be about 69,920. So it's going to be all the way up here. And the lower expected move is going to be 44,920. 44,920. And then what we're going to do is just pull this out to where the current price is today. And there is our one standard deviation expected move going forward into the end of April. So there's a 68.2% probability that the price will be within this envelope by the end of April. So 68.2% represents sort of the middle of the bell curve, so to speak. What we've seen when we've done this analysis before, especially at these points where it's at the consolidation level, high levels of consolidation, and we're expecting a big move, is that the price will go very quickly to one or the other levels here and then consolidate and then pull back. So it's almost like we do get these levels. They do become important, but they're usually reached very quickly when we're in a high degree of consolidation as we are right now. Okay, just to summarize, for our approach going forward, the price certainly is in a nice consolidation level at this point. We're expecting to see the price follow the trend, which is a breakout to the upside. However, I'm aware that it's just as likely that we could get a downside break from here, and that would be a great opportunity, I believe, to pick up more inventory at lower prices, as well as perhaps even sell puts down in this area. Here's the Ledger X account. I've got a small account that I've been selling puts on, and it's going to be interesting because if we start getting up into the 60, 70, 80, 90,000 level, then this account is not going to have enough capital to be able to sell puts anymore. So I'm going to have to wire some more money or send some BTC and then have it come down converted to US dollars, which is kind of insane. It's just that the wiring fees are so expensive. It's such an egregious process to do it. So this account really does work much, much better to become a conversion engine of dollars into Bitcoin at advantageous prices. So right now we still have the $45,000 put, which is going to expire at the end of this week. And it's still kind of expensive to shut this thing down, even though I could do it tomorrow and look for the next pullback. So if we do get a quick pullback, then my hand might be forced into closing this one early, just so I have the capital to pick up the next put, which is going to be more than likely on the 30th April series. And again, I'm going to have to be very sensitive in terms of how much capital that I have. I'm not going to be as aggressive as I can in the previous ones because I can't, for this account, I can't even sell the 60,000 put. I do not have the capital for that. So some of the first world problems that we have with Bitcoin going to the moon is that it becomes less affordable, right? And this is why we're trying to pick them up on a pullback. Okay, so enough about Bitcoin. Let's move to the second coin here, Ethereum. We have a huge consolidation level. So let's pick up the RSI Laguerre, and we can see that we have a huge amount of energy at this point. Now, the last time that we did have this much energy, it actually did break to the upside momentarily before we had our, I guess you could call this a more of a correction, so to speak, with the major markets. So we're in a huge consolidation here. And this is really kind of a cup with handle pattern. It should break to the upside, but again, this is where you need to set up your decision box. Your decision box is pretty much going to be around this area. If we break above 1900, more than likely this thing is going long. If we break below 1700, then the energy might be heading to the downside first. Now let's check that weekly chart. Let's see what's going on with Ethereum. And again, I see the weekly chart as being fully charged and ready to go. So again, there's no reason I'm not anticipating the price to break to the downside. Here's Cardano. Cardano has got a little pump the other day because they got listed on Coinbase, so that's good. But as we're looking at the top 20 here, there's very little that kind of stands out to my eye as something that's really super strong, although Theta is very strong. And actually, to be honest, some of the altcoins that we've been watching are very, very good. Here's Decred. Again, Decred is at an energy peak. We're checking the weekly chart. The weekly chart is okay. So there's no reason for us to anticipate a drop for this price. So a break above 171 is going to be a long entry on this one. Basic attention token continues to be very strong. Going through a little pullback right now, and we're slightly deficient on energy. So this one should walk around the place for a few days in consolidation, and that would be a better setup. Notice the volume here. The volume has been very good. I neglected to mention that on Bitcoin, but the volume has been very low on this. So if we do see a breakout on Bitcoin, we do want to see volume on that to confirm the entry. Okay, Zilliqa has been fairly good, kind of a noisy chart, not particularly that great. VeChain has been very, very strong lately. but almost a little too long in the teeth to jump on at this point. But eventually this thing is going to hit 10 cents, and it's going to be a very valid one. So no problems with energy on the daily chart right now. The weekly chart is a little bit thin, so I would anticipate a bit more of consolidation at this level. So that's kind of our top 10 here. The other ones that are worth looking at are in what we call the swing trades, or the altcoins here. And we're relatively green today, which is good, because these are starting to take up the baton when Bitcoin or Ethereum are just in kind of a, not necessarily an up day, but just not going anywhere. So they're taking the time, and so we're creating these very short-term opportunities. Since if you're using Bitcoin as a reference currency, that there's a huge amount of currency risk in that for the underlying to move. So some of these that are looking good are like Ocean, Doc is pretty good, Tomo, Engine Coin. We've been watching Hero for a long time, although Hero is kind of, the bloom is off the rose there, so this one may fall out of our list. Some of the other ones, the CVC, Potcoin, and Decentraland has been tremendous lately, so that's been very, very good. And let's see, one that I saw today, which hit the scanner. So the scanner is down here. I'll look at this like once a week and then just put in BTC for reference currency and say, is there anything out there that I'm not aware of? So we do have members that are letting me know, like, hey, look at this coin or that coin. But also sometimes on a weekly basis, I'll go down to the scanner and look for something to see if there's something that's starting to pop up. And one of them is the Harmony coin. So one versus BTC is popping out there. This is up 37% today. And you can tell it's an inexpensive coin. So there's people pumping it like crazy right now, and the volume is pretty good. And just to let you know, this one is available on Binance or Binance.us. All right, folks, that is it for today's report. Have a great weekend. We'll see you on Monday.